We keep everything in-house, understand?
Abogado.
No comprende, abogado down here, bro. If you ever go over my head, it'll be the last head you go over. Wait to hear from me is what you'll do.
El bien o el mal, según quien lleve la placa.
This is me, Billy. Lieutenant Belvin or me.
Chicago PD, nueva serie, martes a las 22, solo por Universal Channel.
It's my honor to be here.
Is this your first time in Argentina?
See.
Very good. What is the most challenging aspect of interpreting Sergeant Boy?
Honestly, the most difficult thing is the hours and the cold. Chicago is muy fría. Muy fría. Yeah, but in terms of the hours, any actor, the more time you have, the more you can marinate and work on something. And this is one episode after another, so it becomes a little bit more like jazz,
What would you say, what is it that you like the most about your character?
Well, I like everything about him, warts and all. But what's really perhaps the most interesting is to play somebody who is without fear. I could go on and on, but you'd fall asleep. But there's, his fearlessness, and the other thing, he's so present. He's in this moment right now, and so that's part of the fearlessness, because most people are worried, and that's in the future, or concerned, or thinking about what might happen, or they're a little sad or angry, and that's, I think, because their attention is in the past. And part of, people find him intimidating. Is this too much? People find him intimidating, and I think that's just because he's so here right now, and that's also fun to play. And I think interesting as a character. And lastly, sometimes it's fun to kick people's asses. Hi.
Welcome to Argentina.
Gracias.
I'm Gabriela from Cine y Más,
Hello.
Movies and More.
Okay.
And my question is, how did the producers come up with the idea of giving you your own show after being on Chicago Fire?
All I know is what I've been told.
Yes.
And when apparently I had worked for Dick Wolf, I had done an episode for him, a very interesting, kind of sociopathic bad guy. And when they created Chicago Fire, they had this arc in mind of an intimidating policeman. And apparently Dick, in his wisdom, had planned on perhaps creating a spin-off. And he called me, not personally, but he said, I want Jason Beghe. And the character on Chicago Fire that I played, which is the same guy, just from a different angle, kind of. From what I understand, the ratings went up, people found him compelling, and there it was, and then I continued to play the role. It was a lot of fun and successful. And then, frankly, I don't know if anybody knows this, it's kind of a secret, but I hadn't had an offer, but I knew they were sniffing around, and I had an offer for another show that I won't mention. And before my agent, could respond to negotiate a deal, I did personally get a call from Dick, and that was the first time I ever spoke to him. And he said, I'm taking you off the market, here's what we're gonna do. And it was too hard to say no, and I'm confident I made the right decision. What is it like to be in the skin of this character? To be in the skin of the character is, it's interesting, because when you play a character, particularly for an extended period of time, it's like an intimate relationship. it's like being married. I sleep with him. You know, we live together in Chicago, away from my family. So it's like any good relationship. We learn from each other and influence each other. Hopefully I take his good qualities, you know, and I hope I give back to him things that are useful. And I hope that's not too nebulous, but that to be in the skin, it's interesting, and it's it's fun to be somebody else. It's, you know, this is what we do, you know, as actors, and you know, as kids. That's what we did for fun. So, you know, hopefully you keep it fun, and this guy has been fun, it's not like I got him now. I got Voight. I mean, I feel like I have him, but I'm always chasing him, you know, and I hope that I always am chasing him, because just like anybody, you know, if you're not learning more, you're probably dying, you know, so to keep him alive, it's always discovering and finding surprises. In terms of where it is in my career, I kind of live in this moment. I try to, you know, one of my favorite quotes is a wonderful Latin artist. You may not have heard of him, kind of obscure. I think his name is Pablo Picasso. Yes. And he said, I paint the picture to find out what it looks like. And if you think of the opposite, is kind of painting by the numbers, which can be interesting, but it's not as exciting. So in my life and in my work, I try to just keep painting the picture to find out what it looks like. I try not to aim. I try not to, you know, set a goal, because maybe I'll achieve it, but I might have missed whatever. And to me, it's an exciting way to live. You don't have to go to amusement parks and go on roller coasters. It's exciting just to wake up and not know what's going to happen. So I don't go to psychics, you know. Comprende? Okay, gracias.
Do what you gotta do. If you're still running game out on the street, cowboy, being a dirty cop, I will personally throw you off a roof.
You wanna play a game?
Someone's taking Diego. He's gone.
Chicago PD, nueva serie, martes 13 a las 22, solo por Universal Channel.
When you do your job well, which I don't always do, you don't leave your personal life when you're there. It can sometimes get blurry, the two different skins, Jason Beghe, Hank Voight. But what I do is, because I work every day, and I work maybe 14 hours, and then I go home and I learn my lines, and hopefully get enough sleep and go. But it's exciting and it's exhilarating, so it's fun. But then on the weekends, on Saturday, I usually spend at least half the day laying on my couch, staring at the ceiling, not thinking. And I do it because it's important to me, and I feel like it's the only way I'll be able to continue to create, is that I just get back to me. Like one of the things, it's not just playing a character, it's also, you know, people get excited, because I'm just me. But sometimes, especially in Chicago, people get very excited to see me. You know, and they say, oh, Jason. And, you know, people, oh, you're good, fix your makeup, and oh, can I get you some water? It's easy to get very interesting and crazy about yourself. And I personally, you know, try to be very aware of that trap, because I think it's not a happy place ultimately, looking for fulfillment there. So for me, the most important, the first part of the weekend is just get in touch with who I am. Skype with my wife and my children, you know, whatever it takes, but really just be. Not be Jason, not be Hank, just be. And then maybe one beer, nice dinner, and Sunday, learn all the lines and go back to work. But it's fun, it sounds like a grind. I can't think of anything I'd rather do. Thank you. In terms of sitcom, see, it's, you know, I played them the same. I played a funny guy on Californication. Very different, but really similar, because neither one of them cares what anybody thinks, you know? And so it's just it's a viewpoint. So I would hope so. As far as being encapsulated, that's up to the audience and the people who make the shows, you know. But for myself personally, I don't feel pigeonholed into anything. You know, I'm always Jason playing Voight, and I can be Jason, you know, playing something else. Just like right now, Jason doing this, you know. Oh, Chicago depicted. Well, it's just, I think I would put it this way, it's very accurate, but a city is like a person. And so in this one moment, in this situation, at this party, you might see somebody, and it's easy to define them as that, the guy in black tie with good manners. But he may be somebody else at home. So we certainly strive, and I think succeed to a very large extent, given the confines of network television, but are very successful at honestly depicting these specific moments. But like any creation, it can always be better. But I'm very proud, and as are Chicagoans, one of the things that I hear is that, you know, and why they're so excited about the show, because they're very excited about Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, is because they feel it's honestly giving their city a chance to say hello. The way I work personally, I always try to be real within the moment. And a lot of the quick-paced montage, that's the editor's job. So if it's cut together with this, and this, before what you see on camera, I've gotten some to this point, and afterwards, I continue. And that's what makes the quick cuts good, I think. So that's I don't play quick moments. I just play moments. And you know, cut, when they say cut, when I'm doing my job well, that should be a surprise. You know, I don't, you know, because a moment leads to another moment, and as you paint the picture to find out what it looks like, you know, certainly cut isn't part of something that you're looking at, if you're doing it right. So that's how I do it, and I think it's the best way to do it. Hank Voight is a guy who has a lot of certainty. Like I said before, he doesn't doubt himself. He's not worried about what anybody thinks, but he loves the people of Chicago, and it's his job and his responsibility to protect them and keep them safe. And if there's a rule that is going to inhibit his ability to successfully do his job. His job is much more important than a rule. And that's part of what this show is about. And one of the interesting questions is, you know, should he have followed the rule or not? And that's for you to answer, not me. Comprende? Okay. Yeah, but I think it's interesting. You know, that makes it interesting to me. We did 15 episodes, 15. Pretty good, right? I know that from 15 años. Yes. I didn't have that party, but 15 episodes this season. Generally, they're fast-paced, but I think in the first 1 and 2, because we're introducing so much, that there's a lot of cuts, because there's a lot of information trying to get you to know these people. And that's just part of the formula of doing a series. I can say, and NBC in America has said, and Dick Wolf has said, and I truly, honestly believe, and I'm gratefully thankful for the fact that these shows get better and better and better. And I think that's key, because you can sit there and say, hey, that's a good pilot, which I think it was. I think it was a very good pilot that you showed. So, but if something isn't getting better, it's probably getting worse. There's not a lot that stays level around here on this planet. So it's a fast-paced show, but now after we get the characters introduced more and you become more familiar with them, you can get a little bit more into the detail and take a little more time with each one to get to know them better. Because it's an ensemble. And there's a lot of void here. And there's a lot of void in every episode, but you start to get to know other characters more deeply and intimately. And I think that's what's interesting about film or television, you know, is character. We're gonna do another season. I start in July, and I suspect, I feel as though we'll keep going for a while, till they fire me. Or maybe before.
Last question. ¿Última pregunta? Any question? That was the last question.
Okay.
¿Por qué sigue con la misma voz del personaje si ya terminó la filmación?
Why do I keep... No, I actually have a very high-pitched whine. But Universal made me boil coffee in the back of my throat this morning because they thought no one would believe that it was me if I didn't do it. But I'm actually a falsetto opera singer on the weekends. Yes, that's why, just to keep my job.